Hi crypto peeps, hope you're doing well. Today's date is 5th of September 2022 and Bitcoin is trading today, let me check here on my Steam Deck, is around about $20,000 and change, so not doing too badly and a slight rise from last week. And not doing too bad bearing in mind the financial situation across the world. As you know, us in the UK here have been having our problems this last few weeks, definitely last week anyway. So let's move straight to the news, shall we? The news I collected this week is predominantly Bitcoin based, I'm afraid. That's just the way the news is going at the moment. So the first one here is on Finbold. Bitcoin's correlation with gold reaches the highest level in over a year. For a long time, the correlation of major cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin with established asset classes has been studied by traders and investors, including its correlation with gold, which has recently seen an increase. It goes on to say, as it happens, last week the correlation of Bitcoin with gold reached its highest level in more than a year. And there's a nice interesting chart there showing you that correlation. It says here that outside factors affecting the prices are, according to the authors at the debrief, both the flagship digital asset and the precious metal has suffered significant declines this year. They go on to say, after benefiting heavily from the Russia-Ukraine conflict in the first quarter of the year, gold has lost all its gains and is currently down 10% year to date. Bitcoin has also declined double digits this year, dragged down by a global monetary policy tightening. On top of that, gold has failed to act as a safe haven asset, i.e. an asset that is expected to retain or gain in value during periods of economic downturn, in spite of core inflation remaining persistently high. Although the two correlation between the two commodities has been minor for the most part of the year, the platform explained that the strengthening of the dollar is now negatively affecting both, increasing the correlation between the two as a result. Over the past year, Bitcoin is mostly uncorrelated with gold, with its correlation oscillating between negative 0.2 and positive 0.2. However, as the US dollar continues strengthening, negatively impacting both crypto and gold, the correlation between the two assets has shifted. There's some great graphs there, and there's more information if that story interests you, especially if you're a gold holder, of course. As with all the news links and news bites here, the links down below take you to more in-depth news stories. I'm only reading very small snippets or bites of information. The next one here on Markets Insider, Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki says that everything crashes underway and trumpets it as a rare chance to make a fortune. He goes on to say here, Robert Kiyosaki has warned a historic market slump is underway and heralded it as a rare opportunity to make a life-changing amounts of money. He goes on to say, here it comes, and everything bubble turns into everything crash. It's going to be the greatest crash ever. More wealth is going to get transferred than ever before in history. In another email blast on Sunday, he said, the author trumpeted about buying opportunities and expects to emerge in the coming months. He goes on to say here, it's time for the poor to get rich. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETF and real estate crashing as predicted. Millions will be wiped out, but thousands of the poor and middle class will become incredibly wealthy. Again, there's more information here. He goes on to say here a bit more. 2008 was a great time to get rich. Everything went on sale. He said, the sales were so great, I borrowed millions of dollars to grab all the real estate bargains I could. Again, there's more information on this story if that one interests you, but people are looking at this as an opportunity. How you go is up to you. Another one here on Markets Insider. Cryptocurrencies pose risks to the stability of the US financial systems and gaps in regulation must be addressed, the Treasury Group says. Goes on to say here, cryptocurrencies pose risks to the stability of the US financial system and gaps in regulation need to be filled, said Janet Yellen at a meeting of the Financial Stability Oversight Council on Monday. Yellen, who leads the FSOC, has previously warned of the dangers digital assets pose to the broader financial system. Shortly after the fall of Luna and its associated stablecoin Terra, She told policymakers that crypto risks were growing rapidly but did not yet pose a real threat to financial stability. In her most recent remarks, she urged policymakers to address these threats head-on, pointing to a recent report from the Council that found crypto, left unregulated, was a grave risk to the financial stability and to investors active in the space. In particular, the FSOC recommended 3 areas to be addressed, urging rules to be tightened on crypto firms, crypto trading platforms, and the spot markets for crypto. Again, there's more information on this. If this one interests you, have a look at that. But it seems like tightening up is happening and it's going on everywhere. Next, we're going to move here to the Bitcoin. Again, there's lots of Bitcoin news this month, I'm afraid. This week, I should say. It's just the way it goes sometimes. Bitcoin is in demand and investors haven't stopped buying Bitcoin despite the crypto market doubt. And this is on the Bitcoinist, of course. The recent announcement that the Fed interest rate has been raised by 75 basis points has also impacted the market. Instability in the broader financial environment reverberated through the cryptocurrency market. It says here under the headline, Bitcoin an excellent choice for the future. New York Digital Investment Group, or DYDIG, recently disclosed in a filing with the SEC that it raised approximately $720 million to invest in Bitcoin. Although the names of the investors were not disclosed, we might conclude that the limited number of investors and the total amount raised are affluent people or huge corporations looking to diversify their holdings. Numerous financial market titans like Morgan Stanley and Mass Mutual participated in the investment round. This indicates that a growing institutional interest in cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin. So how does this affect Bitcoin? As of this writing, Bitcoin has surpassed the psychological support level of $20,000. This may be a result of recent advances in Bitcoin's institutional investment sector. Although it will take a considerable amount of time before a large rebound will wipe out the losses from September 13th, the prices will undoubtedly rise. And there's more information if this one interests you. But as I've been saying all along, Bitcoin is definitely the leader still, and everyone, should own a little bit of that. But, this is not a financial advice. This is just for fun. Okay, we're going on to the street here. And this is an interesting piece of news I've been following the last few days. And we even reported some of this in our crypto news bites last month. And I myself and some other people also had data that mentioned a Lehman Brothers type event that was going to happen. So we're a couple of days out with this, but this has been gathering a pace over the last few days. So it still was within the month timeline. Is Credit Suisse the 2022 Lehman Brothers? The Swiss bank's difficulties raised fears of a shockwave comparable to the one that gripped the markets in September 2008. This time all eyes are on Credit Suisse, the second Swiss bank that's no more than ghost of its past greatness. Credit Suisse shares are down 57%, and market cap has gone down from 22.8 billion Swiss francs, or $23 billion, to 9.75 billion Swiss francs, or $9.87 billion in 9 months. Spreads of the bank's credit default swaps have risen sharply in recent days, and they are their highest since the financial crisis. These financial products are similar to a form of insurance against default. And over the weekend, the CS chief executive tried to reassure employees and investors, but the memos only fueled speculation that the bank needs to raise capital to survive. That was a few days ago, but they're still having problems as I read this out. So bear this in mind. And as it says here, is this another Lehman Brothers moment? We kind of said that the one was coming in the news, and this looks like is what's being reported. So moving on here to another piece of news here on Ripple's Nigeria. Bitcoin on the rise as McDonald's Swiss city start accepting Bitcoin for payments. The world's most popular cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, has been on the rise since McDonald's, a multinational fast food chain, integrated Bitcoin into its payment option in Switzerland on Monday. In the last 2 days, Ripple's Nigeria gathered that Bitcoin has increased its value by 6.17%, indicating investors are renewing their demands for the digital asset. The hike in Bitcoin's market price came after Bitcoin magazine revealed on Monday that McDonald's has started accepting Bitcoin. in Lugano, a city that passed legislation for the payment of tax with Bitcoin in line with its Plan B project. Aside from McDonald's, businesses in Lugano are expected to accept Bitcoin for payment of goods and services, and the digital asset will also be accepted for parking tickets. Other uses of Bitcoin will include public services and student tuition fees. The adoption of Bitcoin in Lugano came after the government there signed a memorandum of understanding with Tether Operations on March 3rd, 2022. So that's some interesting moves there. See how that one develops. And the last piece of paper-based news I have for you today is on Motley Fool. If this one thing happens, Bitcoin could double in price. Because I say here, the future of crypto could be determined by the Senate Agriculture Committee. No, that's not a misprint. That's because the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or the CFTC, is angling hard to become the primary regulator for the crypto industry. And the CFTC falls under the purview of the Senate Agriculture Committee. An expanded role for the CFTC is generally perceived to be good news by the crypto industry, which views CFTC as a much more crypto-friendly regulator than the SEC will be. The head of the CFTC, Rostin Benham, just threw the crypto industry a bone by suggesting in a chat that Bitcoin could double in price if his agency gets to set the rules. A doubling would set Bitcoin on a trajectory from its current price of around about $20,000 to nearly $40,000. Whether the CFTC or the SEC gets to regulate crypto comes down to a single question. Is crypto a security or is it a commodity? If it's a security, then the SEC gets to regulate it. And if it's a commodity, then the CFTC gets to regulate it. It goes on to say here, in the case of Bitcoin, there is a near 100% consensus that it is a commodity. In fact, some have argued that Bitcoin might be the only crypto that can avoid regulation under the federal security laws. The SEC's Gensler has gone so far as to suggest that Ethereum, the second largest crypto by market cap, should now be classed as a security. Goes on to say here, so wait, you're thinking, what in the world does the Senate Agriculture Committee know about crypto that the SEC does not? Well, the Senate Agriculture Committee knows a lot about commodities trading in wheat, corn and pork bellies. And according to the Senate Agriculture Committee, crypto should be considered digital commodities that are traded on exchanges. And the committee also knows a lot about metals like gold and silver, both of which are also traded on major exchanges. And the CFTC gets to regulate this. So if Bitcoin really is digital gold, shouldn't it be regulated as the same as physical gold? Interesting questions there and interesting news. There's some more information and charts there. If that would interest you, I think it interests everyone, to be honest. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how that one develops. And then we're going to finally sign off here with some video news. As I keep saying every week, the internet, especially YouTube, is an amazing source for news and information on crypto. So have a look at that. Now, the first one here is from CNBC. It goes on for 9 minutes. Bitcoin inches back above 20,000 and a deep dive into the state of US regulation. So that's from CNBC Crypto World. Very interesting one there. Then the next one is a favorite of mine, Coin Bureau. And this is a weekly roundup here, and it's crypto news like talking about Chainlink, Terra, the Great British Pound collapse, CBDCs, and a lot more. That one goes on for 24 minutes. Very interesting, very good news. Definitely subscribe to that channel. The next one I've picked here is another one from CNBC, I'm afraid. They're doing well at the moment. And they're talking about how crypto outperforms tech in Q3 2022 and what makes Solana the fastest blockchain. So that's CNBC Crypto World. Have a look at that one as well. And finally, again, another one from Coinboro. And I thought we have to have a look at this one because it's really good, really interesting one here. It goes on for 23 minutes. But they're talking about the leaked EU crypto bill and what's coming to Europe with cryptos. So that's it. That's all the news for this week. Lots there. Again, lots happening with Bitcoin. It seems to be in the news a hell of a lot right now. And it's doing quite well, bearing in mind the rest of the world seems to be going to economic slush. So have a great week ahead. Any comments, just leave them down below or leave them on our forum. I'll try to make any changes, get any news that you're looking for. Have a great week ahead, but be careful out there. Take care. Namaste. See you soon.